And welcome to Legal Matters, everyone, an informational and news call-in show devoted to legal topics of interest to Stateline viewers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and with me is Attorney Michael Crosby with the Crosby Law Firm. We have attorneys standing by right now to take your call at the number on your screen at 815-397-2006. They'll provide you with free information on your issue. The call is confidential, so pick up the phone now and call the Crosby Law Firm throughout the next hour. Again, that number, 815-397-2006. Now, our opening statement for this episode of Legal Matters will be offering a guide to advanced care planning and estate administration. And in the second segment, we'll continue our popular You Want to Know question and answer session devoted to questions posed by you, the viewer, by way of telephone calls and social media. Again, the number is 815-397-2006, and lawyers are standing by right now to take your confidential call. But before we get started, please note that the Crosby Law Firm represents thousands of individuals just like you. Just as our local hospitals handle a multitude of healthcare issues, the Crosby Law Firm can help you with a multitude of legal care matters as well. So please pick up the phone and call 815-397-2006. The Crosby Law Firm has a Center for Divorce and Family Law, an injury department which includes but not limited to auto and motorcycle accidents, as well as slip and fall, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability matters. There's also a Bankruptcy Institute, an Office for DUI, Traffic, and Criminal Defense, an Advanced Care Plan and Probate Center, and a division for real estate, business matters, and much more. So again, feel free to call and discuss any of these practice areas with the attorneys standing by at 815-397-2006. Lawyers are standing by right now to take your call. It is free and it is confidential. So Michael, again, welcome to the studio and welcome to November.
Thanks, Alan. Glad to be here. November, time of Thanksgiving, celebrating the fall harvest, celebrating family, breaking bread together, Thanksgiving time, giving of one another. It's an exciting time and a great cultural event in our country and throughout our land. That's why I thought advanced care planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney would be a timely topic. It's family members' way of giving back to family members by making certain that their affairs are in order in case of an untimely incapacitation or an untimely death. Mm-hmm. So, good opportunity to talk about a subject that I think should be of concern to almost all of our viewers out there.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that, all of our viewers. I think a lot of people would think that wills and advanced care planning would only pertain to those people who have a lot in their estate. But that's not necessarily so, is it?
No, nothing can be further from the truth. The overwhelming number of documents that we prepare are not driven by your wealth or your lack of wealth, nor are they driven by your age. So whether you're 21 as a young adult or you're 90, and whether you're worth $1 or $1 million, there are certain basic documents that everyone in our culture should have, particularly family members. If you're married, grandparents, husband, wife, father, mother, these are documents that should be in place that will help your family moving forward. Again, regardless of wealth, regardless of age, so long as you're an adult.
So how does this estate plan, how does that help out a middle-class family?
Well, it establishes kind of a Rand McNally map, to use an old term, or a Google map, to use a newer term. In case of an incapacitation, where you're still alive but you're disabled, we take care of preparing powers of attorney that will indicate which loved ones or family members you would like to handle your health care needs, your business affairs, so forth and so on, in case you became disabled or incapacitated. And of course, upon your death, we prepare your will, and in some cases a living trust or a revocable inter vivos trust that spells out how you want to dispose of your assets, and equally important, who you want to be in charge of wrapping up your affairs once you've passed.
Okay, so what's, I guess a question, you mentioned something in there, a revocable
trust.
Right. What if those people have just a will? What are the other things that are mandatory but maybe not good for everybody?
Well, the essential documents that, again, regardless of your wealth or lack of it, your age, as long as you're an adult, everyone should have a will, a living will, which takes care of what happens if you're on life support. Everyone should have a health care power of attorney that takes care of those instances where you're disabled or incapacitated and someone needs to deal with a doctor or the hospital on your behalf. A durable power of attorney, also known as a property power of attorney, takes care of who deals with your bank, your employer, your retirement account, the IRS. If you're incapacitated, still alive, but people need to make business decisions on your behalf while you're incapacitated. We also take care of a funeral and burial affidavit that specifies who's in charge of the funeral, where you want to be buried if you've specified that. Some folks prefer cremation, so forth and so on. So those are all taken care of in the basic documents that we do. When we prepare a living trust, it's typically for those that may have a larger estate or are concerned about a creditor perhaps attacking their will. More difficult to attack a living trust if one is in place.
Okay. Number to remind everyone, 815-397-2006. Free advice over the phone from real lawyers right here in the Stateline area. Now, in the past, we've received some questions about the difference, I guess, between a living trust and a will. And you mentioned a little bit of that. To expand on that, the difference between a living trust and a will.
Sure. We'll have a lot of clients that will come and inquire with us about a living trust. They've read a book, seen a video, heard a friend talk about a living trust, why they might need a living trust. Living trust is typically what's referred to as a probate avoiding device. If you have your assets pass through your will, it's going to go through a probate process that can take upwards of 6 months or longer, typically supervised by a judge. Also, a probate is a public matter. Anyone can attend the court proceedings and see what transpires in the courtroom. Whereas your trust is a private matter, and it's not processed through the judicial system, and is much less likely to be attacked by a creditor if you should pass away and have debts. Typically, a living trust is an attractive document for those that have significant net worth. Typically, it's also an attractive document for those that want to simply avoid what happens in a courtroom, which is what happens with a will. It can also be, again, a document that's more private oriented than what happens with a will and a probate. So those are some of the reasons that some folks want a living trust. When clients come in to visit with us, any of the viewers who come in and want to discuss these issues with us, we'll discuss with them the pros and the cons of a living trust versus a will. Almost all of the living trusts also contain a will as part of the advanced care plan. But don't hesitate to give us a call. I'll be happy to sit down and chat with you about all these documents so that you understand the benefits, the pros and cons. Again, probably the single most important benefit, it establishes a roadmap so that none of your family members, upon your incapacitation or your death, are left out in the cold. Everybody knows where they stand and what's expected because you spelled it out. It's a wonderful gift to your family. Just like breaking bread at Thanksgiving, just like sharing a good meal together, this is something that family members should do and should have in place. It avoids all kinds of issues down the road.
Later on, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Again, the number to call is 815-397-2006. Stay tuned for our rapid fire You Want to Know question and answer segment coming up after a break. Welcome back. It's time now for our rapid fire question and answer segment called You Want to Know. In an effort to protect viewer confidentiality, please understand we only use first names. We may alter the location and the nature of the question somewhat. I'd like to remind you that lawyers are standing by to take your call no matter what the topic. So pick up the phone and call 815-397-2006. Here we go. Michael, here's your first question. My dad died several years ago. It's from Vince in Winnebago County. And my mom recently passed away. When Mom hired an attorney to probate Dad's estate, she was frustrated with the lawyer's hourly charges. It's now my turn to take care of my mom's estate. I don't want the same issues. Any suggestions?
Sure. First, I'd like to extend my condolences to Vince and to encourage him to give our office a call. Just as in the first segment tonight, we've talked about the advanced care planning documents that one puts in place. This question addresses what happens upon one's death and how we go about administering the person that's passed away, their estate. First, the good news, Vince, there are a lot of lawyers in our community who take on this kind of work and charge you by the hour. If you're charged by the hour, very difficult for family members to budget and to know what to expect. particularly with return phone calls. This is a time of your life when you want to have effective communication with the attorney. And if you pick up the phone and call the lawyer and he's charging you by the hour, it's almost like you're getting punched. Every time you call him, the bill runs up. So in our office, we do a lot of this work, and we've elected to charge a flat fee so that the client knows how to budget, they know what to expect, and with a flat fee, all the phone calls that come in, all the office conferences that come in, those are all part of the flat fee. It's our way of encouraging client communication without the client feeling discouraged or punished, if you will. We've done this for well over 35 years now. A significant portion of our practice is devoted to estate administration, managing people's living trusts, managing people's wills, so forth and so on. I think it's also important for Vince to understand that it is a good move to hire a local attorney and someone that's well versed in this particular area of law, someone that concentrates in this area. As you mentioned at the outset today, our law firm has a department that's dedicated to advanced care planning work and to the estate administration when somebody passes on or somebody becomes disabled. So Vince, please give us a call. Be happy to help you out and address your questions. Very good question. I understand the budgetary concerns.
Yeah, it's an emotional time.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
Need the stability, I think, there too. Next question. Lawyers are standing by. I want to get that through right now. Next question from Mark in Rockford. My wife and I thought we had weathered the financial crisis of the last 8 years, but now we're confronted with the bank foreclosing on our house. Can your law firm help us?
Mark, you're not alone here. You've not invented the wheel. Unfortunately, since the 2008 recession, a number of people, Alan, have had this issue. Our office devotes a significant amount of time to defending folks that are going through a foreclosure. Sometimes this morphs or evolves into a bankruptcy, some kind of a debt relief remedy above and beyond the foreclosure defense. What's important for folks to understand out there that are going through this, you can manage this very difficult issue with the assistance of an attorney. Our firm, again, does a lot of this work so that it's on your calendar and your time frame, and you're not being strictly reactive, if you will, to the bank or to the company that's foreclosing on you. So, yeah, foreclosures are a traumatic thing. I want people to understand, though, family comes first. Debt issues are important in our country. Understand that. But the federal government has bankruptcy laws in place that can protect you. And we're also able to defend you in a foreclosure case to buy you the necessary time to sort out what you want to do next so that your family is not unduly disrupted. So please give us a call, Mark. Be happy to address your question.
Okay. Again, the number to call, 815-397-2006. Number on your screen. Next question from Ethel in Belvedere. My 19-year-old daughter recently gave birth to a healthy baby boy. She and my grandson live with my husband and me. And our daughter's boyfriend is not in the picture. Our daughter is going to attend college next semester and would like my husband and me to raise our grandson. We really want to help out, but we're not quite certain how to proceed. So what's their next step?
Good question from Ethel. In our culture today, there's a lot of boyfriend-girlfriends where there's a pregnancy, where people aren't necessarily married. And if they're young, they may decide they want to reach out to their parents to help them raise the child. This is what we call a guardianship case and a paternity case. And Ethel, there's a process in place, and to the rest of our viewers, there's a process in place where we can help. We secure a court order that designates the grandparents, if you will, in this case, or the parents of the daughter, to be the guardian to help raise the grandson. This will address issues as to who's responsible for taking the little guy to the pediatrician, who's responsible for taking him to school, getting him enrolled in school, who's responsible for religious upbringing, so forth and so on. So the fact that this 19-year-old young woman wants to reach out to her parents to get some help is a really good idea. That's what the family unit is all about. Our firm does a ton of this work. We'll be happy to help.
All right, great advice, and I'm sure they feel better about knowing that that's available to them as well. And thank you, Michael, for that information. Lawyers are standing by. Don't forget, for another half hour after the show airs, number to call, 815-397-2006. It's all the time we have with Crosby Law Firm. Legal Matters continues in a moment.